praiseforwarwear.com.
There are things that PF coaches me on, right? And I don't think I know everything. But there are some things that I'm really, really good at. And I take pride in the fact that my highest calling as a person, not just because it's my day job, is to help people succeed. I'm called to the Ministry of Health. So whether it's an individual, whether it's a business, my biggest calling is to make you succeed. And I have a natural flair for business. I understand business and how businesses work. So I could leverage on those for you. Now, so today I said we're going to discuss how to value your business. Remember, yesterday we talked about partnership and structuring partnerships. And if you look at some of the videos that were sent for you to watch, the links on YouTube, the Dragons Den pitches and how the Dragons eventually go on board some of those businesses, there is always going to be questions around valuation. And for people in the knowledge industry where you're pretty much selling what you know, or people in the service industry where there are no products that are tangible, they are mostly services and stuff, it might even be more difficult to put a value on your business or on what you're worth or what your business is worth. So I'm going to try and break it down so that it could help you. And again, if you're going to be talking to partners or investors, another reason why you need an accountant, another reason why you need a lawyer, because they could help you rationalize the thinking around valuation, and you can have a more scientific, you can have a more scientific proposition. So you're not just churning numbers off your head, because that really, really can hurt your pitch. It can really hurt your bid for partnership. I remember stumbling on a tweet. I've forgotten the guy, but it was a guy and was talking about when it was a tribute to Steve Jobs, and he talked about their startup. At the time, they were doing well, but not well enough, and they thought they could do better if they were acquired by Apple at the time. And they got an appointment with Steve. Steve gave them audience. They went to do a pitch, and right there and there, after their pitch, Steve said, you know what, this is good. We would get on board. We want it. We would buy it. We would organize for your accountants and your lawyers to meet with accountants and our lawyers to agree on valuation and draft the paperwork and get back to me. I mean, it was less than 30 minutes. The guy should have just pack his load and leave the room and let the technical people work out the details. But right there, he asked Steve Jobs, how much do you want to buy us for? And Steve Jobs pushed the question back to him to say, how much do you want to sell? And the guy brought up one number. I don't know where he got it from. And Steve Jobs scrutinized what was the thinking behind the valuation. And he did not have answers. And not only didn't he have answers, while he was stammering and going back and forth, he tried to bullshit his way by quoting XYZ figures and data that really didn't exist or didn't apply to the situation. And Steve Jobs got very upset. And guess what? Steve Jobs told them to get out of his office. And that was the end of that deal. That business was eventually acquired for maybe $100,000. Something that he could have successfully sold for several millions of dollars. just simply because his valuation and homework was not properly done. So I saw that tweet and I felt, wow, this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake at. And again, because you're an entrepreneur, you're just starting out this business and it's like your baby. So you're passionate about it. And that passion then clouds your objectivity because you've forgotten that ideas are dime a dozen. Everybody have ideas. The difference between idea A and idea B is execution. And aside execution, it's also the places where your product or your services potentially can go, even if they haven't gone there yet. So you need the right people to be able to craft and tell a compelling story. And go and watch more and more of those Dragons Den videos, you would notice that there is always conversation around valuation. And a lot of the dragons are upset when they think the valuation is out of line with their perception of what you're truly worth. So you need to have the right numbers behind what you're doing. So now let's talk about how to value your business. Number one here I've written is typically the easiest way to do it is your balance sheet, your assets versus your liabilities. So you have a business that owns properties, that owns machineries, that owns vehicles. All of those are some assets to the business. But again, the business has liabilities. Maybe you have commitments to the bank you're servicing. Maybe you have a ton of other things that the business is indebted to, say licenses you need to renew or you need to get, or things like maybe a retainer you need to always service. Actually, my apologies. I'm in Nigeria, so NEPA NEPA did what they needed to do. It was, and my router, which I was using, was not connected to a UPS, but I've done that now. So if NEPA strikes again, the connection would stay. So again, I apologize for that. So I was talking about how that the first and most common way for people to value businesses is actually using your balance sheet. And now the next is earnings multiplication. So usually, if you're in the services industry, you probably don't have heavy machineries or heavy equipment or even tangible real estate that can then be put into consideration when doing valuation. In that situation, your earning potential is a critical part of your valuation. So now, so there's a client that we actually closed a round of funding for towards the end of last year. So towards the end of last year, we're able to raise $25 million for this client. And when the valuation conversation came up, okay, so in a business life cycle, you would need and raise different money at different times. This particular client had done what we call pre-seed funding. That is when your business is still very much in the ideation phase, but you actually need some capital injection to do a few things. Maybe it's an IT platform, then you need to do some initial coding, you need to pay for that, you need to buy some server space, you need to acquire a few customers to use to do the testing, so you need to do some small marketing. That is what we call pre-seed funding. That particular phase, the business was able to raise $1 million for 20% of the business. So someone gave them $1 million for 20% of the business. So what that automatically translates to is that the business is valued at $5 million. If you get $1 million for 20%, it means at 100%, the business is valued at $5 million. And again, that stage is not a stage where you could put assets and liabilities side by side to come up with a valuation. it's mostly around earning potential. If this business succeed, how much money would this business make on a monthly or on an annual basis? And you can use that to extrapolate what the value should be. Now, this is the point I'm about to make. So in December last year, they now need to do what we call Series A funding. So Series A is when you get like the bigger chunk of investment after the business has gotten off the ground and you've begun to do some major, I mean, we can now see traction. You've acquired a few customers or you've made a few sales, and now we can see clearly what the value proposition is. You've demonstrated what the business is about and where the business is going. So when they were doing Series A funding, they were going to raise $25 million for the same 10%. So what they are saying now is that the business, 10% is now $25 million. 100% automatically is $250 million. So you can see that the business and valuation has grown from $10 million to $250 million. And this is within a space of 12 calendar months. The time when they raised the first money and the time when they raised the second money was just 12 calendar months. Now, the difference in pre-seed and the difference in Series A, it's simply because they've proven the business model work. They've proven the business has potential and there is reduced risk. And the lower the risk, the more valuable you are. And on the investor side, the more costly the asset you're trying to purchase. So earning multiplication is a key thing. Between pre-seed and Series A, they've signed more than 50,000 retail merchants in America. That alone, having that paperwork, that document that says we're in partnership with 50,000 stores for the solution we're bringing to the table, takes the value of the business high up there. Remember, they didn't buy a land, they didn't buy heavy equipment. There isn't acquisition of assets, quote and unquote, but there is increase in earning potential. So if you're starting up a business and you want to really, really work on your valuation, you need to prove that the business is viable. You need to prove that your business model works. You need to prove that your financial model works. Those are two different things. And you also need to prove there is a significant earning potential for the business. And that way, whoever is investing can make their best guess. Guess what? Even when they were raising $250 million for 10%, I believe personally that the business is worth a whole lot than that. Because by my projection, the business could easily have a daily revenue of up to $100 million. Maybe profit will be 10% of that. And I believe if they now have this $25 million they have, if they can use it to implement their strategy over the next 12 months, and they've been able to now prove with actual numbers and money in the bank to say, okay, this is what we were now earning, that valuation, if they need to raise another money this time next year, they probably can raise a whole lot, several times more than that. So it's when you look at how companies like Florida Wave or companies like Paystack in Nigeria were able to raise money at the kind of crazy valuation that they have. I know Florida Wave right now is valued at over $2 or $3 billion. It's not because they have assets, but because they have an increased earning potential. They've signed all these merchants, they've signed all these other business partners, and on their platform, they record an insane volume of transactions. So they've proven what is possible over a period. But still answering the question, how do you value your business in that instance? So I typically do 3 to 5 times the current earning, or 3 to 5 times potential earnings. So if a business right now is doing an average of $1 million every year, assuming nothing is changing, they are not getting new partners, they don't have anything on the horizon, they are just continuing to do the same thing that they currently are doing, no significant change in strategy, I will put the value of that business at 5 times that $1 million. And that way you can start negotiating with a potential partner or with a potential investor. However, if that business currently does $1 million per annum, but within the last 2 months, they've signed partnerships with a whole lot of banks or a whole lot of financial investors. No, I won't call it investors. They've signed partnership with complementary services provider that would help them scale significantly. So the business will most likely scale just simply because, so say for instance, you bake bread, that's your business. And every year you do an average of 10 million naira. I will value your business at 50 million, assuming nothing else changed. But let us assume that in the last 2 months, you signed a partnership with ShopRite, Hubble Mart, and all these other chains, and they've now agreed to carry your product in store. And you have a new service level agreement that gives an idea of the total number of sales that would come in as a result of these new channels. That would then be put into consideration, and then those agreements alone could shoot your valuation significantly, even way higher than what it is right now. So let's say, for instance, all you do right now is you're a counselor, therapist, and you just sign people, they come to you, and then you offer them advice, and then your business has grown that way. But now you've built products around what you do. So you've packaged different boxes, and one for parenting, one for divorce, one for mental health. And you say you've even automated it, you've put it online. You can now sign up and pay without necessarily interfacing with me as the owner of the business or as the therapist. Those new products, those new innovation you've put in has significantly shot your business valuation up. So now you need to project, what sort of money can I make in the future just simply because of all of this? Or say you now sign a partnership with a state government, or you sign a partnership with a bunch of schools, and you are now on retainer, and they're now using your intellectual property to actually deliver some of these things for the people within their own network. That has shot your valuation up significantly. So that's another way to look at it. And that's why you need a good accountant or a tax person to help you figure these things out. So number 1, your balance sheet. Number 2, earning multiplication. And then number 3, future potential earning, AKA market products or market method, what your future is likely going to look like. It's going to be one of the ways you can value your business. Okay, so that's about valuation. Please, valuation is important. Don't joke with valuation. And again, let me put this in as a bonus. When you're approaching a potential investor, a potential partner, it's not enough for you to ask them to come in and give you XYZ for ABC% of the business. It's important for you to also start thinking of exit for them, because a number of institutional investors, or maybe even angel investors, are not looking to be in your business forever. A number of them are looking for an average of 5 to 7 years. That's the typical industry standard. So you want to make sure that at the point where you're giving them valuation of what you are today, you should also be projecting the valuation that you would likely be in 5 or 7 years when they are ready to exit, because that then gives them a lot of incentive and something to look forward to. I'm coming into your business today at $10 million for 5%, for 10%, or I'm coming into your business today at $25 million for 10%. Yes, that is sorted. But what will that percentage on XYZ Naira or dollars be worth in 5 or 7 years? So not only are you estimating and baselining your valuation today, you should also be giving us an idea of what you'll be worth in 5 or 7 years, so that your investor or your partner have a clear exit strategy. And sometimes you want to exit by going to by selling to somebody else that could acquire you. Remember, Instagram sold to Facebook, WhatsApp sold to Facebook, Snapchat was going to be acquired, but they refused to sell. And since when they refused to sell and today their valuation has gone up, for some people, it's the complete opposite. They did not sell on time. The valuation dropped because competition knocked them out of the market. So you also need to be smart about it. There are different ways you can exit. You could sell to a bigger business that might have complementary service, or that might even be a competition. Because the reason why they wanted to buy Snapchat was because it was competing with Instagram. But what Instagram then did was to, when Snapchat refused to sell, was to now add stories, which was the main features for Snapchat. That's how stories came into WhatsApp, came into Facebook, came into Instagram. So everybody is just trying to make sure that they are keeping their customers within their ecosystem. That's a digression, but I'm saying have an exit plan, have an exit strategy, have a valuation, put a proposed valuation at exit that might be exciting to your potential partner or to one who is going to acquire you. And also remember, raising money is not difficult. I thought I would bring that to this class. So many people believe that getting investor money is difficult. No, it is not difficult. The more difficult part is actually proving that your business is investable. There is ton and ton and ton of money. I'm sure when you listen to Bloomberg News or The Economist, or maybe just the regular business news of CNN, I mean, you just see them call all these millions and billions and trillions of dollars, and you're wondering what's going on. There are some VCs and hedge funds that sit on hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're looking for places to put the money in. So it's not so difficult to raise money. What is difficult is proving that your business is worth investing in, that you have a product that actually has a need, that's actually solving a need, that you have a customer base that is ready and willing and able to pay for those products, and that you have a clear strategy of taking the products to them, and that your books and your record keeping is legit and on point. If you can prove all of those, there is always money to be raised. So please don't think small as far as your business is concerned. Don't think about who would invest in me, or I'm in Nigeria, or I'm XYZ, how do I raise money? There is tons and tons of money. Just do the work. Make sure that your business is investable. As a minimum, all these crowdfunding places online will take you up, and you'll be shocked how they work. So WeFunder, for instance, all you need to do is meet certain criteria to be listed on their platform. They will list you on their platform, and there are people that go on this platform just reading through different business profiles. They don't know you from Adam, they don't know anything about you. They just put $100 there. Some will put $1,000 there. Some will put $300 there. And before you know it, some people are raising $50,000, $100,000 investment as pre-seed, which is significant. So please don't be short-sighted about your business and how much you could raise to get it off the ground. Be more interested in the fact that your product is solid, is solving a problem, that your packaging of it is right, it can scale. Because if I'm an investor, if I don't see where the business would be in 5 or 7 years and there is no clear growth path, I'm likely not going to be interested, even if it's making money today. So yeah, I'm going to talk to us quickly about how to attract customers, because if your business will be profitable, if your business would succeed, right, you would succeed because people are buying your product or your services. So acquiring customer is super, super important. An investor is going to look at your business from primarily the angle of customers. Look at those Dragons Den videos we saw. They are asking questions around, who will buy your product? How much will they pay for it? Are you sure these people really want this kind of product? So it's important that you're not BSing your way through. You truly, truly actually have customers, people who are willing to pay or who are currently paying for your product. So please don't joke with this. Number one, you need to find your ideal customer. I told us to come up with a persona last week. I know some people did, some people didn't do it. It's not too late. Please do that assignment. What does an ideal customer look like? Let me tell you, an Apple customer is different significantly from an Android customer. If Apple would create the persona of their customer, is different from the persona of an Android customer. So it's important for you to define accurately and clearly what your ideal customer looks like. And there is no bad or good description. You just need to be honest with yourself and honest about the products you have, being able to meet the need of that description that you've come up with. For some businesses, the customer is affluential, aspirational, eclectic, they are bougie. They are valid description of your customer. For some people, their customer is modest, they are maybe middle class income earners or even low class income earners where they probably make minimum wage. And trust me, they are still your customers. And it's a game of numbers. You could actually be able to compete with people with affluent customers if you gather enough of those people within your base. So it's not about thinking in a certain way alone, but constantly telling yourself, who is going to need my product? Who is going to need my solution? So I know one of our participants earlier was saying, I'm a Muslim. My customers have largely been Muslims. Excellent. That is a beginning point. You don't need to say, oh, my product is for everyone. No, find that ideal persona, because let's look at Nigeria, for instance. The split between Christians and Muslims is almost 50-50. So why not, if you can target that market, you're still targeting almost half of the addressable base. So define on the ideal customer and then understand them. What do they want? What makes them tick? How are they? What are the things that excite my customer base? What are the things that my customer base would not like? Or what are the things that does not interest my customer base? So please define that very clearly. Now, position your product as an answer to their problem. Not many people understand this or why this should be done. But let me tell you very clearly, if your customer does not see you as the answer to the thing that is doing them, there is a big chance that they will not buy from you. So it's important that in your storytelling, in your positioning, you need to say to them, me that you're looking at, I am the answer to your problem. You can't beat about the bush. You can't be shy about it. You need to be bold and in their face about how they need you and the things you're offering for their life or for their goals or for any objective that they have to be realized. Number 3, deliver on whatever it is that you have promised. I don't know if that's number 3 or number 4. Deliver on your brand promise. People say, oh, you don't have a second time to make a first impression. And that's very true. Make sure that if you say to your client, I am the answer to your problem, when they encounter you, you better give that answer. If you can leave a customer walking away from you, believing that their problem is solved and that if they have not met you, they would still have been where they are. If you can leave a client with such impression, you don't only have a repeat client, you now have an agent that will sell your product free of charge. So customer acquisition is one, customer retention is another. Make sure that each time this customer encounters you, encounters your brand, encounter your product, or encounter your services, that you truly, truly, truly deliver on your brand promise. So if you say, this is my product, with every sip, your thirst is quenched, you better make sure that that product quenches their thirst at every sip. So it's not enough to define your customer, target your customer, get them to encounter or buy from you, but it's important that you deliver on every single promise. As a matter of fact, if there is ever a time that you don't deliver on your promise as a brand, write this down. Treat it as a catastrophic experience, not just for the client, but for your brand. I'm going to share an example with you. So there was this obscure restaurant, you know, Lagos, there's always one restaurant to the other opening all the time. So there was this very obscure restaurant that my friend had told me about. And I said, oh, okay, it would be nice to experience it. So I went there with another friend of mine. And after we had eaten, I couldn't finish what I was eating. So I said, okay, please pack this. I'll take it home. And it was in the evening, so they packed it. I got home late. I just left it in the fridge and went to bed. The next day, I didn't even remember I had that in the fridge. By the second day afterwards, I remembered, and I went to the fridge to microwave this particular meal that I brought from this obscure restaurant where I paid an ham and a leg. And I discovered that what was packed for me was not my leftover. I didn't know there must have been another customer who also had a leftover about the same time, and they swapped our takeaways in the kitchen. So I'd ordered some meat-based meal, and in my leftover pack was chicken. And I took a picture and I sent an email to this restaurant saying, okay. So I didn't even think of doing anything like that. But like 3 days later, the restaurant sent me an email asking for a survey. So they wanted to know how my experience was when I visited. So I just copied their email address there and then sent an email with pictures saying, this is what happened. Guess what? The floor manager for that day replied to me and asked for my phone number. The floor manager called me and apologized profusely and said, you know what, I'm going to investigate what happened. This is just me saying, I acknowledge your email. Please give me 24 hours to come back to you. In the same day, not even up to 24 hours, not only did the floor manager call me again, the owner of the business called me, a French guy, called me apologizing, and guess what? They gave me 100,000 naira voucher to come back to the restaurant and bring somebody else. And the owner of the business said to me, if I know the day and time you want to come, I will make sure I am personally on ground to apologize to you and give a second chance to make it up to you. It's important for me to say this, that restaurant is my go-to place anytime I want to wow someone in Lagos. Last week, I was there 3 times. And trust me, this restaurant is not cheap. If 3 people would go and eat there, have a minimum of 50,000 per head. That is what you will most likely spend by the time you're done. You'll probably be doling out up to 150,000 naira for 3 of you. Guess what? The business saw the fact that they didn't deliver on their brand promise to me as a catastrophic experience. They were not just willing to say, I am sorry. They were willing to make it up to me. And guess what they did? They said, come with somebody else and spend up to 100,000 for free. They didn't only make it up to me, they made sure they are creating another wow experience for somebody that I'm dragging along, who, by the way, has also gone back over and over and over and over. So there might be times where your business or your brand will drop the ball. But see, your customer is your lifeline as a business. So the business that was valued at $5 million December 2020 was valued at $250 million December 2021. The difference is the customer base they have acquired in that 12 months period. So your valuation is significantly impacted by the amount of repeat business, by the amount of customers that your business actually services all the time. Number 5, allow free samples. Don't, and I know House of Saviors, PreSeries A brand does a lot of this strategy. So you see so many of us gather here and we partake on some of the free things it does, but the moment we come in contact with the quality, the excellence, we are willing to come back and even now pay a premium for more. Consider that as a strategy for gathering customers. I remember during the pandemic, I don't even know if my friend is here, I won't mention her name, I won't put her on the spot. Their hospital is where my children go to, it's the children's hospital. And I remember we needing to go to the hospital for immunization. My kids were not sick, we're just trying to do immunization. And we left face masks at home. So we're going to buy face masks. So the hospital offered you, they were going to sell face masks at the door before we came in. And they were selling this face mask at 500 naira, the disposable one, just one face mask at 500 naira. And at that time, a box of face masks, not even now, I know it's come down significantly now, but a box of face masks at the time was maybe 3,000 or 4,000 naira, and there are 50 in it. So something that is costing you less than 60 or 70 naira, you're selling to me at 500 naira. I am a customer who is coming into your premises to spend money. I am a customer who is coming into your premises not because I want to come. You are a hospital. Nobody wants to visit a hospital. I'm already in distress. But at the door, you've made me have a sense of being ripped off because I left my face mask at home. I gave my friend the feedback and then they took it. But again, it's a hospital where my children are registered in. So assuming it is a business that I can just go next door, I would rather go and pay 500 naira in a place where they don't know me, I don't have a history or a relationship with them, just out of protesting that you guys, you know what, move away. So businesses, especially new businesses, need to seriously consider pricing strategy as a way to attract customers and retain customers. So you want to bring in customers and say to them, experience us for free, try us for free, give them free samples, something small, but then let there be a call to action at the end of it so that they can then go ahead and pay for the real thing. Not everything is to be priced like your what's it called, like you are hungry or whatever. So I did a course last week, and it was totally free. Funny enough, I was just browsing through the internet, then I saw the guys that I really like, Les Brown was going to be there. What's her name? Sharon was going to be there. The lady that co-wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki was going to be there. Deepak Chopra was going to be there. I mean, like, all these powerful guys were there, and they said it's free. I was like, okay, how can, and it's a 3-day program. Each day was an investment of about 6 hours, and these guys were teaching. They were there live. So I registered, and guess what? Sharon spoke about real estate investing, blah, 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 blah. By the time she's done with her 90-minute spot, she has not even gone halfway into what she potentially carry and can share. Guess what? She said, my time is up now. I have to go, but I'm going to do another 2 hours free in 4 days' time. If you want to go register on this thing, it's totally free, 2 hours. I want to be your coach. I want to be part of your journey in real estate investing. I want to hold your hand. After she has done all of that, guess what? I registered for that one. I attended again, another 2 hours. By the time I was done with that 2 hours, now she has a chain of real estate businesses and partnerships that I am now aware of. Looks interesting to me, and I've now been asked to come and pay. And guess what? I'm considering paying. And I know there are a lot of people like that that will do the same. So I'm just using that as an example to say, consider a lot of that. And if you're also starting out, trust me, all those free things are also the way for you to learn your craft. I tell people, nobody becomes an expert overnight. Don't shy away from your learning curve. That learning curve, we all had to go through it. And if you have to offer your solutions for free at that period, please go ahead and do it. Number 6, follow up and ask questions with customers who have experienced you. Don't assume everything went well. Even in an instance where they had a good experience, they probably could have a better experience. So please and please consider that option of looking through the list of people who registered for your business and going back to say, fill this survey. Even do it anonymously if that would make you be honest. Tell us, how did you experience our brand? What happened? Blah, blah, blah. Lastly, remember that your customers eventually become the value base of your business. So make sure that you're increasing that customer base as much as possible. Your focus is customer acquisition. And here I've documented that you can actually acquire customers by marketing, sales, promotion, below the line, above the line, or you can actually acquire customers just by referral, somebody telling someone, someone telling someone. Maximize network events, maximize partnership with businesses of complementary services. If there's a business that does something that can be complementary to what you're doing, use that as the base. So if you're in the knowledge industry and your forte, for instance, is early childhood trauma, you deal with children and the trauma that comes with them, that's your forte. You're not trying to go into divorce, but you have someone who is an excellent divorce coach or divorce recovery coach, co-parenting coach. Guess what? Your partnership is very much made in heaven, because they don't do children, but when divorce happens, children are affected and traumatized. You can get some value from them, acquiring some of their customers to buy from you. They can get value from you by acquiring some of your customers to buy from them. You can see finance companies do this a lot. Somebody is into finance. Their core is corporate finance. Somebody else is into tax and actually intelligently structuring tax regimes and all of that. You both are not competing with each other, but the firm that needs a corporate practice finance would also need an excellent tax person. Why don't you form a synergy and trade customers and speak well of each other? So those kind of alliances and strategies would actually work to significantly grow your customer base. When I moved to Nigeria to start my project management firm in the UK, when I actually did start, it was a lot of struggle. There was competition. I wasn't British. I don't have a British accent. You call the phone, I pick it up. The first thing you're hearing is this black guy saying, I can transform your business. You're not likely going to trust me like if you had a white guy on the other end of the call. That's just how life works. But guess what? Partnering with a competitor in the UK who is not willing to open a shop in Nigeria worked for me, because I moved to Nigeria. I established that partnership. And when I'm selling my business in Nigeria, I'm selling it in partnership with what? A UK company. It's something our people like, and it worked. So look for such complementary partnership. Think outside the box. You can acquire their customers, because these people keep getting inquiries from Africa and I say, oh, I'm not in Africa. I can't service Africa, but we know of this guy. We know of this company called Project People, and they keep sending businesses to us. That works. Remember, showcases, doing volunteering events, speaking engagements, all of those things that showcases you, put you out there in the limelight. You need to focus on it. So yeah, this that I've just shared with you, I was actually meant to share last week, and see, our time is gone again. I didn't even get to thought of my business model canvas. God. But one thing I'm going to do, I've sent the slide to PF. So Press is going to email us that slide before next week. And I think it's even good that I did not touch on it today. So you have that business model canvas, and the business model canvas you need to start attempting. I've explained the items under each point. I've touched on one or two of those points in the 3 weeks that we've started this. In some way, you should be able to come up with a business model canvas, at least 50% of it. So next week is going to be very, very, very practical. I'm going to ask you, from anybody who raises their hand, PF would allow you to share your screen. So you share your screen, you talk us through your business model canvas based on the one that PF will send to you. I will then correct, add, make corrections, make addendums. That way, the learning is reinforced. My biggest joy would be that by the end of this month, next week, Sunday, everybody has a business model canvas for their business. It is the starting point for proper documentation of your business. So yeah, I think it's good I didn't get to do it today. We would have a practical session on it next week. You guys need to have started your own individual work because you would get the templates, read up, populate it with your business. And if you then need help, I can then help you as we go along to edit, modify, change, add. I could also probe some of your assumptions on what you have put on there, and then we can have something going. So thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure spending today with you. I probably can spare 5 minutes. If there is any question, I can answer that. If not, we would see you next. Thank you so much, Doctor. God bless you too. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Over to you, PF.
I am praise for warware.com.